Hello, everyone. I am Cole Johnson from CloudMadeSimple. I manage our Power BI, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams deployments. Today, we're talking about Microsoft Teams. First off, also just wanted to say thank you for joining and being a part of the ongoing learning around making the most out of technologies that are at your fingertips. And just a few housekeeping reminders for the webinar. You can send in any questions at any point during the webinar using the Q&A button on the sidebar. Also, when I'm sharing my screen, you might see me in the bottom left corner, and you can make me much smaller so I'm not taking up so much room on that screen so you can see more of it. So if you've ever heard of or used Slack before, it's very similar to Teams, yet Teams is completely integrated with all of your Office apps. We use it here at CloudMadeSimple, and it's made working together on files and projects, having quick chats. It's made it so much easier. So we absolutely love it. We'll never go back. And before we jump into some slides about Teams, to give you a bit of background, and to give you a live demo, I wanted to show you a quick video that shows you how other businesses are using Teams so you can understand the collaborative power of it.
We've seen the impact teamwork has had on our world. But what if teams could achieve even more?
To truly do great work, we need people that have different experiences and understand the world from a different perspective.
The thing that's challenging is to make sure that there's a platform for that collaboration. Teams are very liquid. We need to keep up with the way our people like to work.
What if people from different cultures and generations could come together in a more purposeful way, so ideas flow freely and evolve organically? Just imagine what we could achieve. Introducing Microsoft Teams in Office 365.
Microsoft Teams is helping us accelerate and win on Sundays. Now we can share common ideas, common goals.
I'm excited about the ability for people to be engaged in multiple teams and making it very easy for them to not have to go to 15 different places.
Microsoft Teams is a chat-based workspace that gives people one place to connect and create in inherently human ways.
You have that constant thread of communication that you can go back in history and see. It's all right there in a single interface.
Accenture is nearly 400,000 people across 120 countries. To be able to engage and collaborate this way is a big game changer for us.
A way that builds trust and helps create a natural rhythm so ideas flow freely and evolve organically.
There's a lot of communication, there's a lot of data sharing. We're all sort of working towards the same end goal, and that's to build a car that goes out on the racetrack to win.
It's all happening real time in a very frictionless way. That's the way people expect to work these days.
Because it's part of the Office 365 set of collaboration tools, it's part of what we already do. It's the central hub where the conversations happen. It opens possibilities for connection and collaboration that we never thought was possible before.
And it's about empowering them and taking somebody's good idea and making it an awesome idea.
It has truly made us more efficient.
This is exactly what we've been waiting for. This is how we think the world of tomorrow will work.
Welcome to Microsoft Teams. Together, there's no limit to what we can achieve.
I hope that was a good overview for you of what Teams is. We'll get into more in the demo here. Teams fits into the Office 365 collaboration portfolio by giving teams easy access to the information they need in a dedicated hub for teamwork. And there's 4 key attributes of Teams that help close-knit groups perform at their best. So the first is the modern day chat that keeps everyone in the know with chat history, whether across the team or in a private chat. It's also a dedicated hub for teamwork, where people have easy access to everyday apps such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everything you rely on a daily basis for getting work done. Teams is customizable for the many different ways that every organization works. And lastly, Teams is designed to provide a great collaboration experience while upholding commitments to safeguard your data. And so many of you might be thinking, why do I need another collaboration tool? I have Outlook, I have SharePoint, I have Skype for Business. Why do I need Teams? And the answer for most users is that it saves them time. If you work on multiple projects throughout a day, using multiple systems and platforms to manage those, Teams can help you save up to an hour a day, which is, in my opinion, really significant. The other benefits include that everyone is much more in the know. It simplifies project collaboration. It makes calling much easier. Voice and video calling is integrated into this. It's also a single workspace tailored for you. So, everything is in one spot. You don't have to have a bunch of programs and windows open. And it's fully integrated with Office 365 and other applications. And lastly, it's supported on all sorts of different devices. So your mobile phone, your laptop, your tablets, anything like that. And as we know, teamwork is becoming an increasing part of everyone's day. Surveys show that the amount of teams people are in has doubled in recent years. Generally, half of your work is probably more collaborative in nature. Instead of an individual working at their own desk or PC, we now have a greater emphasis on open plan offices. Project teams tend to be split across locations or time zones. And there's a shift happening in the way that we work, and that it's essential to keep the conversation going in an organized way. And that's where Teams is really so helpful. So now we're going to jump into the live demo here. And you can find Teams within your Office 365 online portal when you sign in, if you have the correct license, and we'll go through that. But if I just click on the Team app, it'll open here, and I've opened a window already. Teams also has a desktop application, which you can download and open from there. It's the same experience. It tends to work slightly faster, and it might be a more familiar way to work. So where we're going to start with here is breaking down teams and channels. So as you can see, everything here, these are teams. Teams are the working groups and how you collaborate. It's how all of that gets defined. So teams, as it sounds, represents any group of people who share common work information and projects at any given time. You'll likely be a part of multiple teams, just like how you work in multiple groups of people in your organization. And in our demo, our teams in this example match the departments of our business, so such as marketing and operations and sales and finance. But teams can also be organized to represent projects like this one, the Green Energy Project. They can represent groups or however you see fit. Permissions can also be set to include or exclude certain staff members from having the ability to be a part of certain teams. Now, if I open operations here, we'll talk about what channels are. And channels are the building blocks of teams. You use them to organize communication around a particular topic within the team. Each channel has their own file area and area for conversations to keep things really organized and focused. So for example, you can see in the operations team, we have a logistics channel, supply chain, vendors, and warehouse channels. And that's to keep those files and conversations organized within each of the operations subdivisions. In another example here in customers, you can see we've actually created a channel for each one of our customers to keep their files and conversations about that customer contained into its own channel. And in some cases, like in this one in sales, we only have one channel. And that might be because you prefer to keep everything in the sales team. In this example, keep all our conversations, all our files in one place instead of segmenting them into different channels. I won't go any further into teams and channels because the needs of every business vary quite drastically for how to best set everything up. And we have a process to help go through that with you to assist with that. So the next area we'll talk about is actually within, we'll use this sales channel that we're in, this general channel, and dig a little deeper into the channel. So across the top, you can see all these different tabs, like conversations, files, planner. We're in the conversations tab at the moment. And this is an area for chatting about topics within this channel. Each channel has its own conversations area to keep those conversations organized by each channel. So if you want to start a new topic of conversation, it's pretty easy. You can type in a message at the bottom, and then you can also attach files. You can use emojis and GIFs, and you can even call for a quick meeting with the people in this channel. You can also mention in here. You can mention people, different team members, so they're notified of a conversation that pertains to them. So I can say, I want to notify Victoria, and I'm gonna say something to her, and she'll be notified then of this conversation. I can also notify or mention the whole team. So if I say the sales team, then everybody in this will get a notification. If you're notified of an activity that pertains to you, it actually just shows up on the left sidebar here, and we'll go through that now in this activity area. You can see here, this is where some conversations have been mentioned in. If I click on this one for Victoria, you can see it highlights here that she mentioned me. And under this conversation thread, you can reply to keep everything within its own topic. This allows replies to not get lost in the sea of messaging. So I'll reply to Victoria. I'll just say I've looked over the document, and I'll actually find the document that she was mentioning that's within Teams. And I'll attach it right there. And then she can easily just click on this and open the document, view it, edit it from here. So everything's kept within there. Speaking of the left sidebar here, and since we're talking about conversations, I'll mention this chat area. This is a place to see private chats that you've had with individual coworkers across all your teams. Essentially, this feature kind of replaces the need for Skype or Skype for Business, even though it's included in Office 365. It's really integrated into this now. You can make audio and video calls to your coworkers up here in the top right. You can start a new chat with a coworker just by clicking the chat button and typing in their name and starting a chat. And you can share files with coworkers pretty easily right here. Another item on the sidebar that you'll see is meetings. Here you can view a list of your upcoming meetings that were either created here or in Outlook, because it syncs with your Outlook account. So if you want to schedule a meeting for yourself or your team, you can do it. You can do it right from here, or you can do it in Outlook. It all shows up here. I'll come back to this files area on the left side, and we'll come back and talk about that in just a minute. So I'm going to go back to our sales channel here. And in the general channel, I'll go back to our sales team in the general channel. And the next tab next to conversations, this comes with every channel that you set up, is files. pretty straightforward. It's where you keep all the files for each of your channel teams. The framework for, or backbone for these files areas is actually in SharePoint. So I'll click into here, and you can see right from within Teams. You can see all your files, all your folders. So it quickly, it easily replaces the need for a server or a NAS or another file storage system you might have. It keeps it all in here, and we can just easily open the documents. We can edit them right from in here. Everything saves automatically. I just saw a question come in from someone about how does this work if you already have our Business Hub solution and are keeping your files there? And that's actually a great question. Many of you might be using Business Hub or SharePoint solution to store all your files, and these can easily be brought into Teams just as they are. So actually, this sales folder is actually brought in from our demo Business Hub SharePoint site. So I can actually open this in SharePoint. And then I have another window open here. This is our Business Hub SharePoint site that we set up. This is the sales folder I was talking about. And you can see all the folders and documents are right here, just as they are right in here. So they are one and the same. So it makes it bringing, if you already have that set up, we can easily bring that into Teams. And because everything is in SharePoint, the important point to note of this is that you can still set different permissions, sharing permissions on different folders and documents to share these externally. And most importantly, you can sync these files to your computer. So every person has a different preference on how to get to and edit files they need the most. And with Teams, you have a number of options to do this. So you can sync the files and open them from your File Explorer, like you might normally be used to, or you can interact with and edit them right from within Teams. So there's a number of options. Now I'll go back to this left sidebar here, just to wrap this up over here. If I click on Files, it shows me that we have a few different options here. It shows me all my recent files that I've interacted with, as well as files that are in our OneDrive for Business account. If you recall, every user with an Office 365 license gets 1 terabyte of personal storage in OneDrive for Business, where no one else can access the files except you. So you can think of this as a replacement of your My Documents folder, or a better alternative to just throwing files on your desktop. And you can keep them all in OneDrive, and they can be easily accessed right from here within Teams. Or you can access them from OneDrive on your PC from the File Explorer. So again, there's a number of options for you to access your files in different places. And we've talked a bit about teams and channels and files and where those go. We can help you with the structuring of your teams and files, and can actually migrate your files from their current location if you're on something like a NAS or a server environment. We can definitely assist with that. Another great feature that brings everything together in Teams is the search functionality, and you can search across everything. So I'll search for I think I have a document or something around this, and you can see it shows within my files. There's the document, and I can click on it, and it will open up the document, and then I can edit it from here. It will also show me this document in messages or people. So I'm sorry, it'll mention this keyword. So this keyword was found in a conversation, I can, search for that. I can find that conversation that we had about Daleford, the client, and I can it brings me right back to that conversation. So it's a great search functionality built into Teams. Now, the last item I want to show you in this demo, and it's a fairly significant one, is how other applications can be integrated into Teams. So we're back in our sales team and our general channel, and we've already talked through conversations, we've talked through files. Now these other tabs across the top, these are items that we have added in. And we've decided to integrate a number of them, like Planner and OneNote Notes and Power BI. And if I click this plus icon to add a new tab, you can see the wide range of options that we have here to integrate things like specific files, websites, third-party apps like Adobe Sign, Hootsuite, Smartsheet, SurveyMonkey. The list goes on. So let me actually bring you into a few of them that we've integrated so you can see how this looks and the power of it. First is Microsoft Planner, which on its own is a wonderful organizational tool for grouping projects and tasks into buckets, assigning them to people, assigning dates, and so on. So if you've ever used something like Trello or Smartsheet or Basecamp to manage tasks and projects, Planner comes built into Office 365 as the tool for this. We might have to actually do a separate webinar on Planner to show you what it's all about. But you can see I can interact with everything within Planner here, assign it to people, set due dates. I can see the progress of my different tasks. So this is all just pulled in from the Planner app into Teams. The next tab I added is just a simple wiki to keep track of different sales processes for our sales team. Similar to a wiki is OneNote. It's got more functionality. Some of you may have used OneNote before, but it's a great note-taking application. We use it here in this example for meeting minutes to keep track of everything here, separated by date. And so that's a great tool that we can just add in. It's built in, easily integrated into Teams. I've also integrated a Power BI report. This might take just a minute to load, but you can interact actually right from within here with the report. So let's say this is your sales dashboard for your sales team. You only want them to be able to see it. They can see it right here, and they can interact with the data in here. We did a webinar a few months ago on Power BI. If you're interested in more info on this, on the dashboard and reporting tool of Power BI, you can find the link to that video of the webinar recording on our website, cloudmadesimple.com.au /webinars, or I can send it to you after the webinar. This last tab I'll show you is, let's say there's a spreadsheet or a document your team uses a lot. You can easily add it as a tab for easy and quick access to edit things. So any changes you want to make, you can edit, automatically saves. So this is real quick access to a specific file. That's really easy to add as a tab. But you can kind of, you kind of get the gist of what you can do within different tabs and integrations within Teams. The goal of this is obviously to keep you from opening other windows and programs, and have everything contained in one area and contained to your specific departments or specific areas within each department. It keeps everything really nice and tidy. So that just about covers it for tabs and integrations. I will mention real quick connectors, which we can add to our channels. Connectors allow us to get updates and content from other services you might use, such as Google Analytics, Facebook, MailChimp, Salesforce. You can see the wide range here of options. You can set the frequency of receiving these updates to your channel. And if there isn't a ready-made connector like you're seeing here, we can set up a custom incoming webhook to that specific third-party service or app. Let me see if I can close out of this and show you. I think we have one in this channel. Oh, you can see for Google Analytics, we've brought in some reporting on our website statistics right here that we get on a weekly basis. So that's what a connector is. So I've covered quite a bit here. I'm sure you have a few more questions as you dig into this further. Actually, we did have a few more questions come in I didn't see earlier, so we'll take a look at those here real quick. One of them is, how do you bring the folder across as is? It's pretty straightforward, and we can walk you through how to do that, or we can, the process for setting all this up can be a little complex, but really we would just walk through all of that with you, and you need to just set up the team first, and then from within, once you have the team set up, you can easily upload the folder from whatever location you're bringing it from into that correct team channel. Another question: Can teams consist of people outside of your organization or tenant? Yes, that is a newly recent update that they made, that you can now invite people from externally outside of your company to specific teams, and they will have access to the files within there. You can also share files externally from teams. So there's lots of options. There's lots of ability to set edit or read permissions on different documents for those users. But yes, it is possible for sure. Another one: what are the requirements to get teams and software requirements? So with Office 365, the licensing that you would need to actually have teams available is you need at least Business Essentials, Premium, or Enterprise, one of those plans, to have access to Teams. If you already have that, then you can already access Teams from your Office 365 online portal. From there, you can download the Teams app to your PC or Mac. And then there are some standard requirements around using an up-to-date web browser and operating system for Teams. I think, let's see, there's a few more. Are there any ERPs that integrate? So there are, the answer is yes, it depends on the kind. And there may be different, if you have an existing ERP, there are different ways for us to integrate aspects of that into Teams. It depends how complex of an ERP system it is. But there is that option, and we could look into that. That would be a little bit of custom development to get it, to get aspects of it integrated into Teams. And in some cases, we may recommend keeping them actually separated. Another question: can Teams search file content if you forgot the file name? Yes. So within the search functionality, it actually searches within documents for that content, for those keywords. So another person asked what the difference between Yammer and Teams is. So that's a good question. Yammer is a social, is like a social media platform for just your business. So think of it as the Facebook for your organization. It's a news feed where you can You can post updates and photos and things like that for your company. And again, if you have one of those, Office 365 licenses that I mentioned, you'll have access to Yammer. And there are some actually really neat tools within Yammer, and some social media listening and engagement tools as well, that we can talk through further. If you're interested in that, just let me know. But yeah, Yammer is, I think Teams in a way it replaces Yammer, because of the conversation areas that you can have, where you can upload photos and you can have those conversations. It keeps everything in those contained areas where Yammer, it's all it's one group. And you can have multiple groups, but that adds complexity to the user experience of it. So yeah, that's a good question. There is a bit of a difference, but Yammer is just meant for that. There's nothing else that it really has with it. Can you send an email from the chat area? Is the last question we got here. You cannot send an email from the chat area. So emailing still exists outside of Teams at this point. The great thing about Teams is Microsoft is continually adding updates to it. It is essentially the future of the work environment that is Microsoft 365. So everything is going to eventually, a lot of things will be integrated into Teams, so that you're working from one area. And in a lot of ways, it does cut down on the amount of email that you actually need to use, that you need to send between people in your company. It's much easier just to have that quick chat within your team here. I think that's it for the questions. So the last question that some of you might have is how do I get Teams set up? Teams can be a bit of a challenge to set up if you've never done it before. And we have a process that makes it super easy. So we offer a very comprehensive planning process that includes the planning, consulting with you about the technical requirements, the structure of your teams and channels, and permissions that you want for each of the users in your organization. Then we talk through what integrations you want for each channel and team. We then set up everything for you as planned and discussed. Then we go through for a couple of hours of training for your company. And lastly, if you would like, we can migrate all of your files to Teams from your server, from your NAS, or wherever they might be. And at the end of the project, our goals for your organization are that you have a fully functional team environment, that everyone's adopted it and is proficient with it. So it leads to a more collaborative and efficient working environment. Teams is not only a great solution, but we believe our approach to it is a valued chance for you to redefine your business processes, how files and departments are structured and organized at your company, and set very tangible steps to create a more collaborative and efficient business. The cost for the setup is $2,500 ex GST. We are offering a discount on this setup for anybody that has attended this webinar or watching the recording. If you decide to take up Teams within 60 days of this webinar, we'll take $500 off. So the discounted setup will only be $2,000. So if you have any further questions, you can email, you can call us at the addresses below. If you're ready to get started, just let us know and we can have a meeting to discuss further. Again, thanks everyone for attending. I think we're about out of time. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.